If the Hobbesian British judiciary claim they are right, then they are actually totally wrong. At 3 degrees C or more of heating, by 2050 there could be more than 4 billion deaths. The Institute and Faculty of Actuaries are in the business of making accurate insurance judgments. The question is whether Britain's judiciary are similarly able to make accurate legal judgments on the prospect of 4 billion avoidable deaths over the coming decades. Today is the appeal court hearing of my sentence, along with around 20 others who have received multi-year terms for non-violently resisting this mass death project. No doubt the words of Thomas Hobbes will be ringing out somewhere in the judge's subconscious as they consider the appeal. His description of life without the state as nasty, brutish and short. In my court case last July, the judge endlessly reiterated the Hobbesian proposition which underlies UK law on what he described as, in inverted commas, protest, namely that the state exists to maintain order, and to do this it has to protect the public from those that create disruption, who conspire to cause a public nuisance, as is the legal term. There is a closed and circular reasoning here. The state protects the public, and so it prosecutes those that disrupt, and so it protects the public. There is, however, a fatal weakness in the logic. The state is not some abstract entity outside time and space. It is embedded in history, populated by people with their own interests and prejudices, who, as a matter of historical fact, regularly take control of, inverted commas, real existing states and use them to destroy the public rather than protect them. There is then what is called, in inverted commas, the exception. To the extent this state of affairs comes about, the Hobbesian logic reverses itself. It eats itself up. Those that disrupt in order to protect the public interest become the real state, and those that control the state become the disruptors. Hobbes then was a realist about human nature, but naively idealist about the state. In the present situation, the objective reality, as verified by the IFOA, is that real existing states, including the historically situated individuals running the British state in the 2020s, are, in full scientific knowledge of the consequences, refusing to prevent the continued emission of carbon. As such, they are facilitating the destruction of the British state and society. In other words, they are knowingly creating lives for our younger citizens, which will be nasty, brutish and short, with the added prospect of this hell being locked in for the next 100,000 years. To the extent then that the British judiciary insist on the rightness of Hobbesian logic being applicable to these protest cases, they are actually proving themselves to be totally wrong, because of course those running the British state are, as a matter of fact, involved in a level of disruption which is not just finite, but total, the destruction of the country itself. Far worse than any public nuisance, what they are doing is an act of treason. There is nothing complicated here. The reality is clear. Two conclusions can be made. First, there is absolutely no legal case, Hobbesian or otherwise, against those involved in resistance against a regime complicit in 4 billion avoidable deaths. Second, those in power will continue to insist that there is such a case. In other words, first, facts are facts, and second, established elites only accept facts if they are in their short-term interest to do so. Elites rise to power because they correctly assess facts to take control of states, and they fall from power because they no longer correctly assess those facts. In other words, power makes them stupid. Such is the course of history. The difference this time is that the elites will not just destroy themselves through their stupidity, they will destroy everyone and everything forever. Hobbes would not be impressed. Will the appeal judges feel the same?